Just ahead on CTV News, an assassination attempt of former President Donald Trump over the weekend. Plus, a shooting leaves one man dead after a candlelight vigil.
Every child deserves to have new school supplies when they start a new school year. Well, one county department is making sure that happens. I'm Katara Jones in Largo. I'll have all those details coming up on CTV News.
Good evening. This is CTV News for Monday, July 15th. I'm Mariah Jalad.
And I'm Michaela Newton. Thanks so much for joining us. Well, our top story tonight, law enforcement officials are working to learn more about the assassination attempt of former President Donald Trump at a rally in Butler, Pennsylvania on Saturday. Now, FBI officials told reporters in a briefing Sunday they had yet to determine what motivated the shooter, 20-year-old Thomas Matthew Crooks, to open fire from a nearby rooftop. Now, Crooks killed one spectator and critically injured two others before he was shot dead by the Secret Service. Officials said the AR-style rifle used in the attack by Crooks was legally purchased by the gunman's father, and the man who was killed at the rally was identified as Corey Competor, a former fire chief from the area who used his body to shield his family. Now, at least two other people were injured, 57-year-old David Dutch and 74-year-old James Copenhaver. Now, both were listed in stable condition as of Sunday, and President Biden addressed the Trump rally shooting in an Oval Office address.
Thankfully, former Trump is not seriously injured. I spoke with him last night. I'm grateful. He's doing well, and Jill and I keep him and his family in our prayers. We also extend our deepest condolences to the family of the victims who was killed. Corey was a husband, a father, a volunteer firefighter, a hero, sheltering his family from those bullets. We should all hold his family and all those injured in our prayers.
And the FBI believes the shooter did act alone.
And Maryland officials are expressing their support and condolences for President Trump and the victims of the attack. Governor Wes Moore said in a statement that political violence is unacceptable and what happened to President Trump is abhorrent and should never be tolerated. And in a post on X, Larry Hogan says it was a tragic day for our country and the level of hatred in politics is dysfunctional and dangerous. CTV News was on the street earlier to hear how county residents are reacting to the shocking event.
I thought it was disgusting. And no matter who you're affiliated with, that shouldn't be tolerated.
If he had been shot, they would have made a martyr of him. I don't know. I'm not voting for him.
I think it would be good for him and Bonnie to come together a little more, before the debates and stuff. So, but that's why we have to really try to stop crime in America.
I'm glad he didn't get killed because I think that would have disrupted the concentration that we need for the vote ahead.
Well, the Henry Wise High School family came together for a vigil for three former students who died tragically in a car crash. Byron Scott has our story.
This is where the vigil was held on Friday at Wise High School to honor the three football players who died in a car crash on July 6. This was the gymnasium at Wise High School on Friday night. Family, teachers, coaches, and classmates streamed in to celebrate three young men whose lives were cut short.
I can tell you that all three of those young men exemplified what Wise High School is all about.
24-year-old Minnesota Vikings rookie Kyrie Jackson, 23-year-old Isaiah Hazel, and 24-year-old Anthony Litton Jr. were killed on July 6 in a car crash. All three are Wise High School graduates.
A very good person.
Tarheeb Still was a teammate of Isaiah Hazel.
Type of guy, walk in the Indian room, light it up, you know what I'm saying? You see everybody that came out, the impact he had on people. He's like my brother, you know what I'm saying? Hung out with him every day, good person, good soul.
Seeing Kyrie grow up.
Tiara Taylor recalled her days as Kyrie Jackson's teacher.
He is hardworking, he is resilient, he is a yes-minded, he is excitable, he is enthusiastic, and all those things I want people to remember when they think of Kyrie. But one thing I really want them to go away with is that he never took no for an answer.
It's amazing.
Current Wise coach Steve Rapp reflected on Anthony Litton Jr., a young man he said with special talent.
He was so naturally gifted, super explosive, great body control, and physical.
All three men played their last game for Wise about 8 years ago. Together they helped the school win its second consecutive football state championship in 2016.
They came out tonight and just showed their appreciation.
DeLon Parrish is a former coach.
There was 3 different individuals, right? But it shows what sports, community, and family can do as they built that bond to be best friends and hang out with each other.
Candles were lit in honor of the 3 men who Coach Rapp called legends.
Because legends never die.
Following that vigil on Friday, there was gunfire that broke out outside the school, kills a 24-year-old man from Upper Marlboro, identified as Shahid Omar. Also, a female was shot, but she suffered non-life-threatening injuries. Police are asking anyone who may have information to give them a call. Byron Scott, CTV News.
All right, Byron, thanks so much. Well, police have not yet determined whether the shooting is connected to the vigil.
And the heat goes on. The D.C. region is under excessive heat watches and warnings as temperatures rise to over 100 degrees. The National Weather Service has issued an excessive heat warning for most of today, while an excessive heat watch will remain in effect Tuesday. Extreme heat and humidity will increase the potential for heat-related illnesses, so make sure you stay hydrated and find ways to stay cool.
Well, a man has been indicted for a series of burglaries and thefts at various apartments, complexes, and a local church. According to the state's attorney's office for Prince George's County, 31-year-old Joshua Thomas has been indicted on 17 counts for what officials say was an attempt to steal air conditioning units and obtain copper piping that were contained within the units and sell them for cash. Now, investigators say Thomas stole from private properties, including the Woodland Springs Apartments in District Heights and the First Baptist Church of District Heights.
You can imagine individuals who have gone without air, buildings that have gone without air for a significant period of time during the hottest months and days of the year. It has been very problematic.
And the thefts and burglaries reportedly totaled over $70,000 in damages.
2 people are dead following a motorcycle crash in the county over the weekend. One of the victims, the driver of the motorcycle, has been identified as Quentin Barnes. The second victim was the passenger, Jasmine Jeffries. Barnes and Jeffries were both pronounced dead on the scene. Maryland State Police were called to I-495 at Branch Avenue for a report of a crash Saturday evening. Investigation reveals that Barnes was traveling north on I-495 when his motorcycle struck another vehicle. The cause of the crash is still under investigation.
Well, in just 6 short weeks, kids across Prince George's County will be heading back to school, but in order to have a successful year, students will need to have the right school supplies. A county department is calling on the community's help in getting backpacks, pencils, and paper in the hands of kids in need. CTV's Katera Jones has the latest details.
As many families across the county await the start of a new academic school year, there are still kids in our community who simply don't have the funds for a new book bag or a new notebook. But that is where the Department of Public Works and Transportation is stepping in with its annual Stuff the Bus Back to School drive. Beginning today, the department will begin accepting school supplies for kids in need across the county.
We want to have this event every year because every year there's a need. Every year kids need school supplies, and for some it's really cost prohibitive. So we want to be able to step in and give them what it is that they need. To date, we have collected over 40,000 individual school supplies, and we're hoping to do even more. We're hoping to add to that number again on this year. So as many families as we can support, as many school supplies as we get, we're giving everything back to the community.
So I believe this is a great program. Students normally need stuff sometimes they forget, and I think this is a great program for giving back to the students.
Just know there's never not enough that you can give. There's always something that you can give, even if it's just a pencil. I mean, a kid out there still needs a pencil. Just bring whatever you can. It doesn't matter the quantity, more of the quality, and you just donating.
This school supply drive is expected to run until Friday, August 16th. Residents can drop off school supplies here at 9400 Peppercorn Place in Largo. Just go right to the end of the cul-de-sac to drop off those supplies. Katara Jones, CTV News.
All right, Katara, thanks so much. Well, officials say residents that want to donate backpacks can give both clear and cloth backpacks. And remember, the first day of school for the Prince George's County School District is set for August 26th. And you're watching CTV News. I'm Michaela Newton.
And I'm Mariah Jalad. Still to come, a local campus teaching students about entrepreneurship.
We're here in Fort Washington at the Raising Founders Youth Entrepreneurship Camp. I'm Bryce Parker. We'll have more details coming up on CTV News.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Dad. Happy birthday to you.
What are you going to wish for, Grandpa?
Don't just wish you had taken care of your hearing loss. Take action today. Visit Act Now on hearing.com to learn the signs and find an ASHA-certified audiologist near you.
Starting today, Friends of the National World War II Memorial is holding its 9th annual Teachers Conference. This year's theme is World War II, the Transformation of America, and features sessions by fellow educators and other experts. There will also be tours of the National Archives, Arlington Cemetery, the National Museum of the U.S. Army, and a remembrance ceremony at the World War II Memorial.
We have from 16 million Americans that served in uniform in World War II. We've got less than 120,000 alive today. The youngest is 98 legally to have served in World War II. He'd be 98 today. And so within just a few years, we're not going to have any more of these incredible people from the greatest generation. So our mission at Friends of the National World War II Memorial is to make sure that their sacrifice and their great contributions to this great country are not forgotten, that we remember them when they're gone, and that we also teach lessons about what they achieved to new generations, that we instill a pride in democracy, a pride in their country to a new generation of Americans.
The Teachers Conference runs through Friday. They are also letting the public take part virtually. To learn more and register to participate, visit worldwar2memorialfriends.org.
And some local teens are learning how to take their small businesses to the next level.
Bryce Parker has more on a local partnership that is helping kids do just that.
The other kids that are out there, they're students who they're swimming, they're sleeping, they're playing video games, they on TikTok instead of, creating TikToks. But you're in here making something happen.
In Fort Washington, Raising Founders teamed up with Jacob's Ladder Youth Foundation to host a 3-week camp teaching teens about entrepreneurship.
So this is our 3rd annual Young Entrepreneur Camp where we actually help these young people to create launchable business plans, so they understand the basics of entrepreneurship, of business, and also have a plan on how to even start the business at this young age.
So I want to open up a beauty bar called Heavenly and Handsome Studio. It's a beauty bar that basically gives services to women and men like haircuts, facials, waxing, nails, makeup, and doing your hair. And it's to really just boost your confidence.
I mentor young men who lack a positive male role model or a father. One reason why I started it is because when I was 7, I lost my father. And it was hard, not having positive male role models. But when I got a little older, I expanded my network, engaged with mentors, and they really helped me.
Now today is just a larger part of a 3-week entrepreneurship learning timeline, and the students back here got to learn how content creation can take their business to the next level.
So some of the tips today that I shared was knowing your target audience, the importance of being consistent, and also to helping them get some content ideas for their businesses. Being able to share your business on social media is a great way to grow your network and also just reach new people.
As the camp continues these next couple of weeks, Raising Founders hopes that these young people are encouraged that they are never too young to follow their dreams.
Oftentimes, young people are encouraged, they have to wait till they're out of college and all of this, but there are things that are in them now that can grow.
I was poured into as a young person. I was believed in. I was hoped for. This is my way of saying thank you to those who poured into me by pouring into the next generation.
Just be consistent and believe in yourself, because no matter what other people think, it's what you believe in your heart.
Bryce Parker, CTV News.
All right, Bryce, thanks so much. Well, the camp will run through July 26th, but for more information, you can visit the website right there on your screen. And as election season is underway, a possible shift of political chairs could result in more costly elections. Now, if Council Chair Jolene Ivey wins the at-large seat, there would need to be another special election to fill her 5th district seat. If County Executive Angela Alsobrooks wins the Senate seat and stays as county executive until she's sworn in, the county charter will give the council 14 days to appoint her replacement. And if the council can't choose, the chair would take the position until the end of the term, leading to another election to fill that member's seat.
Today was the first time we had an opportunity to hear the bills
And still to come on CTV News.
State Delegate Marvin Holmes joins CTV News to talk about his run for at-large council seat. Stay tuned.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel you attract people who tend to be compulsive or abusive?
Do you have money problems because of someone else's drinking?
Are you afraid or embarrassed to bring your friends home?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
More than half of all adults have a family history of alcoholism.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too. Al-Anon and Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
A special election for the county council's at-large seat is less than a month away. In the next coming week, CTV will introduce you to each of those candidates.
And joining us in the studio today is candidate and state delegate Marvin Holmes. Mr. Holmes, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
And you've had a very lengthy career, about 20 years as state delegate. So tell me why you're running now for the at-large seat.
That's a very good question. And I'm going to start with a quote from Derek Leon Davis in the Washington Post just this past weekend. And it says, there are jurisdictions that are richer than Prince George's County. So there's a lot of competition for resources and economic viability, Davis said. An at-large county council member should be a representative of where Prince George's County wants to be considered in that larger reality. Because of my expertise at the state level, because of the things that I've been involved with at the state level, representing and carrying legislation proposed by our governor, I think I have the expertise to carry Prince George's County to that next level. I am not looking at this at-large race as a stepping stone to go someplace else. I have been at the state level for 2 decades. I don't need to go anywhere else. I want to be a Prince George's County Council representative at the county level.
Okay, so when we're talking about making those changes for the county, what are the steps that you're going to take, for instance, to bring more economic development to the county? The
economic development for the county is going to be based upon several things. Three things specifically. Healthcare is one of them. Schools is the other. And economic development within Prince George's County, what we really need to be doing in terms of our economic development is to mirror adjacent jurisdictions where the commercial base is higher than the residential base tax-wise. That's what we need to do in Prince George's County.
And then what strategies do you propose to attract new businesses and support than existing ones in the county?
New businesses are looking for opportunities, but they have to understand that the opportunities that they're going to be bringing to Prince George's County are not going to be hindered by the processes to bring that economic development here. As an example, some of the things that are taking place with our permitting process could be updated and revised. Some of the developers and some of the developers that I've been talking to are saying we would love to come to Prince George's County, but we are counting days, weeks, and years where it takes for us to become viable in our economic and our development criteria. We can't wait that long because the costs are adding up on a daily basis per day.
And one of your top priorities as state delegate was education and career education. So that's actually one of the top tiers for the blueprint for Maryland's future. What are your thoughts on the blueprint?
Let me talk first about career education. When I grew up in Cleveland, Ohio, I had no intentions of going to college. I went to a vocational school. After getting my apprenticeship, I went to work one day, and there were people walking around with signs protesting at the place where I was employed. My mother then asked me, what are you going to do next? That's how I wound up in going to college. Me going to college after my vocational program gave me the opportunity at high school to learn mathematics. That's how I was able to go into the engineering programs, because vocational programs taught me those mathematics. We need to have the opportunity for people to go into vocational programs so that they can branch out later if they want to.
And you did mention spending earlier. I wanted to go back to that. You're talking about the businesses are having to spend way too much money to come into Prince George's County. Spending is a big topic in the county council right now. There's an over $170 million budget deficit going into 2025. What is your plan to solve that crisis?
Budget deficits are across the state. Well, we just had a discussion with the governor about some of the cuts that he had take place with the state level. In terms of Prince George's County, when we invite those to bring their resources here, we need to make it easier for them to do it. I'm not saying grease the skids and make it overwhelming to our citizens. I'm just saying make it realistic. As an example, there was a ribbon cutting for South Lake Development. Probably about a month ago. And South Lake Development, most people don't understand this, was started 29 years ago. Mill Branch, right up the street on 301, a Bill Chesley project. Most people think that these things happen instantaneously. That was started 20 years ago. So these are the kinds of things that are costing Prince George's County in their invitation to bring businesses here.
And our last question, affordable housing is a huge issue here in Prince George's County. So what is your stance on affordable housing?
Housing is necessary all across the state. There are approximately 96,000 housing units short in the state of Maryland. What we can do is one of the bills that I ushered in as law with the governor's bill was to change some of the zoning criteria to make it easier to bring some of these affordable housing units into Prince George's County. It was the governor's bill. He was the sponsor of the bill. I was the legislative leader on the floor to usher that bill in and get it signed into law. And I want to bring those exact same things that I've been doing at the state level to bring them here to Prince George's County.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Holmes. That's all the time we have today. Thank you so much for being here with us today. So make sure to tune in tomorrow. We'll be introducing another candidate, Bowie Mayor Tim Adams. And still to come tonight on CTV News, Simon Buggs has our Monday sports page.
That's right, and he's giving us an update on the Washington Nationals baseball team. Simon?
What's up, people? Don't go anywhere, because coming right up, the Washington Nationals add more talent to their roster and a Baltimore Ravens legend passes away. Stay tuned.
Poverty impacts 11 million children in the U.S., forcing families to make impossible choices: gas or groceries, lunch or laundry, rent or running water. 1 in 5 children are hungry right now because of impossible choices like these. Growing up in West Virginia, I saw kids living with hunger and poverty, and I've seen the impact Save the Children has on their lives.
All right, everybody, you know what time it is, the start of your Monday sports page. We begin with some news from the MLB as the Washington Nationals continue to build for the future as they selected shortstop Seaver King out of Wake Forest in the MLB draft last night. The 21-year-old had a nice season for the Demon Deacons this past year, batting .308 along with recording 16 homers and 64 RBIs. But despite the season King had, he's still an unfinished product, and he's willing to put the work in and be the best player he can possibly be.
The development piece is something that is nowhere near the roof. I think I've always been show up to the ballpark and play, never really had a preparation. And I think Wake Forest kind of drilled that into me and kind of made me build a routine and things like that. So I think that's the greatest room for improvement is kind of my overall part of the game. I think I'm the rawest player and the guy who has the highest ceiling in the draft. And I kind of take pride in that, and I'm willing to work and become the best player possible.
Moving on to some Olympic news, the games this year will be filled with athletes from the DMV. They'll be looking to add a gold medal to their trophy cases. The first one is wrestler Kyle Snyder from Woodbine, Maryland. Snyder will try to capture his second gold medal, with the first one coming in 2016 in the freestyle wrestling competition. In addition to his Olympic success, Snyder also won the World Championships in 2015, 2017, and 2022. Next is Juliette Whitaker. The 20-year-old from Laurel qualified for the U.S. team in the women's 800-meter race. Whitaker will be making her Olympic debut in this year's games. Now to Coy Young, the Bowie, Maryland native placed 15th in the all-around at the Olympic trials and went on to be named an alternate to the U.S. Olympic team. The 21-year-old is an NCAA champion who won multiple medals in the Artistic Gymnastics Championships last year and is heading into his senior year at Stanford University. And finally, Griffin Yao out of Virginia will be competing with the U.S. Men Olympic soccer team. Before being named to the team, Yao played for DC United, its reserve team Loudoun United FC, and Belgium soccer team KVC Westerlo. Meanwhile, some sad news out of the NFL this weekend as former wide receiver Jacoby Jones has passed away. Jones spent 9 seasons in the league and was primarily known for his time with the Baltimore Ravens. Jones played a big role in the Ravens' run to the Super Bowl in the 2012 season. And in the big game, the former All-Pro had one of the most memorable plays in NFL history, taking a kickoff return 108 yards for a touchdown en route to Baltimore winning the game 34-31. Jones was just 40 years old. And that wraps up your Monday sports page. Simon Buggs, CTV Sports.
Thank you, Simon. Now let's get a look at our 3-day weather forecast. Tonight we're expecting scattered showers and thunderstorms. Tuesday will be under another heat advisory. We're expected to reach a high of 101. Wednesday, we're looking at a high of 96 with a 70% chance of rain. Thursday, also expect showers with a high of 87 and a low of 69.
And now for a look at our community calendar. The Prince George's County Police Athletic League is hosting a Skills and Drills basketball clinic for boys and girls ages 10 to 15. So there will be several sessions starting tomorrow. Times will vary based on age groups. But for more information on how to register, make sure you visit that website right there on your screen.
And that wraps up CTV News for now. Thanks for joining us.
And we'll see you again tomorrow. Have a good night.